Swimming like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Welcome back, everybody. Had a great show today with Chris King, Vice President at King Business Interiors. Um, Went a lot of different places in the conversation today, whether it was speaking to working in a family business, adapting to COVID and sort of the new role in office space. But why don't you give our listeners a little bit of a background and a recap of this family business started and how you got involved?
Sure. Yeah. So my parents, Dave and Darla King, started the business in 1998. So this is our 25th year in business. My mom had a previous experience selling office furniture, and kind of not one day, but she had a dream of starting her own business someday. And in 1998, she decided to make that move, and brought my dad on as our our CFO. At that point, it was like two employees, right? So there wasn't much to it. Invested in an office space, obviously had experience in the industry, and a manufacturing partnership that was strong. So, but basically invested, their whole life savings into their company, and pushed the chips into the center and gambled on themselves. So it was, and it's a success story that I love to talk about. That's for sure. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the motivation of having a son at a small liberal arts school with tuition due, right, will motivate you, correct?
Yeah,
Yep.
that was a big ticket. That's for
Yes.
sure.
As far as we talked a little bit about or a lot about workplace culture, and there was a theme that I think that your mom had sort of permeated through the organization that I just loved, and I'll let you share what that is and what it means to you guys.
Yeah, from the beginning, I grew up playing sports. My sister played sports, and a lot of times those sports don't coincide with the work schedule necessarily, 8 to 5. So when we hire new employees, our common theme is don't miss a ball game. So if your child, obviously some practices start before 5 o'clock. You have to go home and get your kid fed and dressed and off out the door back to their sporting event. So it is a very easy thing to understand for new employees, and I think they really like it, and they understand that we value our family time at home, and it's not always after 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
So
no, that's great. The next question is, we talked a lot about how you guys work together in teams. I know that you said you and your sister and your parents may not cross paths on a daily basis, but talk to our listeners a little bit about how you guys meet and come together quarterly and what you guys talk about and discuss.
yeah, the quarterly is a management team, so it's not just my parents and my sister and I. We have three or four other managers in that meeting. But that's a every 90-day quarterly offsite meeting, and we make decisions and actually bring up a lot more topics than we probably could if we were sitting in the office doing our day-to-day job. Kind of getting out of the business for a minute to work on the company. But we have those 90-day goals that we need to achieve before the next quarterly meeting. So that's kind of how we kind of game plan for the short term, and then also we put together 3 to 5 year goals as well. But those are obviously bigger picture, total sales revenue, and 5 years, where do we see ourselves? So, but those 90-day goals are really like taking one small bite at a time out of a big animal. So
Sure. No, that's great. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Excited to see the next 20, 25 years here of King Business Interiors.
thank you.
And for our listeners, you can get in touch with Chris at 614-430-0020. And the website is www.kingbusinessinteriors.com. Feel free. Don't forget to listen to us on any streaming service. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.
I've been